We're live. Hello. I'm Amanda Call. This is my YouTube channel. This is like very close. We're going to back up a little bit. There we go. This is this comic page I've been working on for several streams now. 3 streams now. This is a page from a short comic story I'm working on just for the heck of it. This is page 1. And we took about 2 streams to get it all drawn. And last stream, I did all the inking on this big old panel up here. And so we're going to see if we can get the inking finished on this page this evening. So this is the ink I've been using with my nib pen because the Royal Talons ink that I've been using is super difficult to get a hold of. There's only one place I've found that carries it. And so I was like, let me try something else. I'm not 100% sold on this one. This is the Zig Kuretake Super Black 60. And I can't read anything else on there because I do not speak the language. The one thing that I did realize, though, using this is that it is not waterproof. I'm not crazy about that because if I want to use this with like other water-based mediums, like that's good if you want to do ink wash, but it's not good if you want to use it with like watercolors or water-soluble ink pencils or anything else like that. So I had tested some of this recently and it is not waterproof. So that's annoying. And it is a little bit like on the gummy side. Like it gets very gummy. Like it dries in this very gummy consistency like pretty quickly. So like overall it's worked fine. It flows through the pen just fine, but I'm not crazy about it. I'll probably try something else once this one is done and see if I can find something else I like as much as I liked the Royal Talons that's easier to get a hold of. But yes, that is what we are using right now. And we've got Hungry and someone saying, thanks so much for joining me. Hey. I did not go full pointillism. Just stayed this side of pointillism. Didn't go all the way there. Hope you're doing well tonight, everybody. All right, get the water splashing up against some rocks here. Or little bits of grass on the edge of the little stream. Doing good. Yep, I'm doing pretty well. It's still winter time. We had our little downpour of snow, I guess you would call it. It was a pretty good little storm last week. But it was all overnight, so the like foot of snow was pretty much all cleared up by the morning. It wasn't bad at all. And aside from that, it's just been cold. Oh, the water did freeze over here in the studio this weekend. That was fun. I got it unfrozen, but that involved crawling around in the tiny little crawl space under the studio. And by crawl space, I mean it's like 14 inches. This building is like 14 inches off the ground. So you literally have to like army crawl on your arm, like pulling yourself forward with your arms on your belly to move around under there. And you're just like crawling through the dirt and cobwebs. And at least this time of year, all the spiders are hibernating. They're not alive and active. Unlike in the summer when you have to get under there and the spiders are just like, "Hey, what are you doing under here? This is my domain." And you're just like, "Ah, spiders." I personally do not mind spiders. I don't, however, want them crawling on my face. Joe Dent says, "Pointillism is very impressive, if not for the sheer dedication, then definitely for the smooth transitions it creates. The comic master is Drew Friedman. His stuff is intense." Yeah, I have done some pointillism pieces in the past, and they're very cool. But yeah, they take freaking forever. I can't imagine doing an entire comic in pointillism. That sounds like it would be extremely tedious. It would take a very long time. As if all the textures and everything that I do don't already take a long time. That would take even longer. No one really uses them for comics because it's just yeah, it would take way too long. I could see doing it, like, here or there for some things. I've done it occasionally as, like, a background element for certain things or, like, couple chapters back in Age of Night, there was a scene where there was, like where they got, the characters got hemmed in like, a really dense fog, and I used pointillism in some of the background elements to make it look like there was a fog effect. Um Which I thought worked pretty well, but yeah, it just takes forever. I can't imagine trying to do it. I'm not gonna say you couldn't, but it would take a ridiculously long time to do a comic with it, since you're having to do so many individual illustrations to make a comic page. Hey, Brianna got here earlier than last week. That is true. Oh, I did get your message, Brianna. I'm sorry I had not yet responded. It was one of those I saw it at like an inconvenient time and I was like, I'll respond to this later. And then I did not. And now that I'm seeing you here, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. Whoops. All right, let's get this little figure figured out here. Figure out the figure. Some people like Mobius use a few dots at the end of an ink line, which creates a nice fade. I think pointillism is best left to single pieces. I think you were probably correct there. All right, we've got this little figure doing his little flying leap. Do you use your brush at the moment, or are you just going all in on the pen? So I am still using the brush. This particular page ended up being a lot of these like long establishing shots, so it's kind of all all ink, all dip pen for this particular page, but there will still be I'm thinking there will still be brush in this comic. I just haven't gotten to those parts yet. Or maybe there won't be. Maybe I'll do this particular short story all in pen and ink, because that would kind of be cool to just do something a little different. Oh no! So the older comics use screen tones for gray areas. I wonder if that's why they avoided pointillism. Well, the pointillism just takes forever. The screen tones, especially when you knew what you were doing with them and the way they were going to be reproduced, you got a really nice, reliable result and very quickly. But yeah, they're nigh impossible to find anymore. I know they were pretty hard to find back when I was like in college. I can't imagine they're any easier to find now. I don't know if anyone even still makes them. Like, I imagine somebody probably still makes them. But it's got to be pretty tricky to find. And yes, they could, when you're not used to using them, like when you're still learning to use them, they can be pretty tricky. And yet, yes, you can also end up with them stuck to you. There's probably also a way to make your own screen tones these days with like the different types of like printer sheets and stuff that you can get. Just thinking that you can do like, you can print on like different types of plastic with like laser jets and ink jets. You can get them imported from Japan from Deleter, of course, but it's about 40 pounds a sheet. Yeah. Yeah, well, that sounds about right. Yeah, Deleter are like the like or the OGs of the screen tone of the screen tone game. I'm thinking about it. There has to be a way that you could do that these days with like make your own with like some kind of like a transfer sheet and a printer. I bet somebody has figured it out because you can do like different iron-ons and stuff and all that sort of stuff. I'll stick to imitating it with Krita. Yeah, probably a good idea. Yeah, and that's 40 pounds, not dollars, pounds. I don't know what the pound is trading at these days, but it tends to be a little bit stronger than the dollar. So hey, what's the pound trading at versus the dollar right now? The pound sucks. Okay, well, just know anytime I went to try to buy something in the UK, I was like, I'm sorry, that's how many in American dollars?
1 pound is $1.27.
Yeah, it's still higher than the dollar. Yeah, it's a you said what, 127?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still 1 pound is still $1.27 US. That's down a lot from when I used to, like, shop from freaking the miniatures on back when I was into 40K.
Pretty close to what it's been at for a few years.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while now, but back in, like, the late aughts, it was practically double.
Oh yeah, no,
That was ridiculous.
I remember looking at Forge World.
Yeah, like, cruising for stuff on Forge World and just being like, "Ha ha, no." No, not quite behind yet, still up a little bit. I still know that if I see a sign in pounds, I'm gonna pay more than if I see the cost of something in pounds, I'm gonna pay more than what it says there in US dollars. If I want to bargain, I have to buy Canadian things. That's where the exchange rate is in my favor. I think at one point each pound was like $2 US. Yeah, back in like the late aughts when I was regularly cruising Forge World, that was about what it was. The pound was about double the US dollar. And I was always just like, yeah, I don't think so. Wait, so Joe, you're in the UK? Isn't it like the middle of the night over there right now? It is 8 PM in the Eastern United States right now. It's gotta be what, like 4 in the morning for you or something? 2 or 4 in the morning? $1.18. Okay. Yeah, it's 1 in the morning. So you're just like a night owl type person. It's like my friend Higgins who will occasionally pop on and lurk in the comments here. He used to do his Twitch streams in the morning because his job was like an afternoon evening job. And he had a lot of like people who would watch him in Australia. Joe lives into the world of tomorrow. 3:30 AM. Someone saying, "Woof, that's awful. That's awful." I have to get up at 5:30 just about every morning because I have to get the kids on the school bus at stupid early, like not long after 6 o'clock. So been working, gotta go drop some stuff off the post box. Super windy, so you gotta get when you get ready. Oh yeah. I mean you just kind of let the wind push you along. There you go. Just push me. Just push me where I need to go. Just pull a Mary Poppins. Just like hold out the umbrella, let yourself float along. It's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, 5 also not great. 5 AM is also not a great time to wake up. Like I'm totally fine with waking up every day at like 6:30, that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. This having to get up at 5:30 every day, having to get up at 5 every day, this is just cruel. Cruel and unusual. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this other little figure over here. There we go. There's another little figure. Thank you. That's that's the tricky part, is trying to get it to still look like a hill. Get the actual, get that nice little, roll and dimension to it. All right. The ones that are further back. So as we go further back, we're gonna do not as much detail. We're gonna have the lines be a little bit lighter, because you have to kind of gotta use that atmospheric perspective. As things are further away from you, there is more atmosphere between you and them, hence atmospheric perspective. And so there's just a certain amount of air and dust and other stuff that is breaking up the light and making the stuff that you are looking at appear lighter, appear bluer and have less contrast to it. And obviously, this isn't a color piece, so I can't really do bluer, but I can do lighter and I can decrease the contrast and detail as we move further back. And that just helps to kind of push that background further back. It is not a commission piece, Joe. This is actually a short story that is unconnected to any of the other stuff like that I work on normally. This is just kind of it's another little fantasy story, but it's not in the world of Age of Night. It's just a story I had an idea for. And I've had this idea kicking around for quite a while. I finally did a script, oh gosh, a while ago now. Like I finally took the like little scribbled idea, and then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna actually like write this into a proper script. Did a proper script, and then it just kind of like sat in a notebook for a while as a script. And now I finally am making some pages for it. It's just hard to sometimes to prioritize these like personal projects that aren't part of something bigger that takes up so much of my time. I have never been to England, unfortunately. I would love to. Only ever via the internet. Okay, I need to clean this nib. I don't want big, thick, gunky lines. No, there's going to be words to it. I'm just planning on doing them digitally, like doing the letters digitally on this one. So I left myself spaces. You can kind of see the little like boxes where I've tried to make sure that I was going to do one down here, but then I realized that covered her up. So I'm probably going to move it up here a little bit. So I make sure to leave like plan in where my word balloons are going to go, or speech bubbles or text captions or whatever are going to go once I get to that point, but I'm going to add it digitally later for this particular one, which is also fine because that way I can work on it on stream and it won't be, I can get a lot more done on it without spoiling where it goes. Ha ha ha. Can get a lot more done on it on stream without anybody knowing what I'm up to. Without anybody guessing the ending or having it spoiled. All right, I'm gonna say that panel is pretty good, and we're gonna move down here, and we get to do these cute little fantasy creatures, these cute little fluffy sheeps. They're so fluffy. Want to pinch their cute little faces. Ah, so fluffy. Look how fluffy. All right, we'll get this figure in here since she's going to kind of overlap this one a little bit. Remind me of cotton balls. Have a petting zoo around the corner. All sorts of cute critters. Pigs, goats, Shire horses. Aw. Cute. So one of my residents came into the office today and was like, "Hey, do you want some turkeys?" And I'm like, "Turkeys? I'd be interested in turkeys." He's apparently currently trying to hatch some turkey chicks. And yes, it is very early to be hatching any sort of chicks. So they're going to have to like live inside for a while, but he's not even sure if this batch will do anything. But he's like, "Oh, my turkey hen's laying, so I'm gonna try. We'll try and see what happens." So I don't know. I'll see if I end up with some turkeys. Can't say as I would ever I can't say as I would ever go out of my way to like raise turkeys, especially because at Thanksgiving around here, turkey it goes on sale for like 80 cents a pound or something ridiculously cheap like that. And so it's just like, okay, do I really need to go through all of the hassle and expense of raising my own turkey? And because it's not by any means cheaper. It's not by any means cheaper, and I don't particularly enjoy having to deal with processing birds. I haven't done meat birds because of that. Like, yes, they can be much more delicious than store-bought chicken, but they are ultimately much more expensive, and then you have to do all of the slaughtering and butchering yourself, and it's not a fun time. I've I did it before. My dad raised meat birds a couple of times, and it's not great. I don't enjoy it. But if someone's like just gonna give me a turkey chick, then yeah, all right, I'll raise a turkey chick. Pen of jibba jabbas. Oh, turkeys are actually like, and that's the other thing too, is that I would probably just end up with a pet because they're actually really sweet. Like they have that, yeah, that's the thing. Is I like chickens, yeah, sure, no problem. They tend to, especially meat birds, tend to be really kind of mean tempered or just dumb as rocks or a little bit of both. Like some laying hens can be sweet. Some of them are also mean. I have some fairly mean ones that have been in my flock for quite a while because they're so mean that nothing has been able to kill them despite our many rounds of predators getting in and killing most of the flock. I have a couple of birds that have been there for years because they're just like, "You shall not mess with me." But yeah, turkeys are super sweet. You go right up to them and they're just like, "Hello, you're my friend. I'm gonna follow you around. I'm gonna sit down and let you pet me." I would probably struggle with that too, honestly. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll just end up with a pet turkey. Or maybe uh this guy's turkey raising experiment will not come to anything. So this is a guy who has like a whole bunch of different birds. He's got a few emus. I guess the emus are pretty mean though, which I no, I don't need a chicken that's bigger than I am. That just seems unnecessary. I don't need a chicken with a bad attitude that also happens to be 6.5 feet tall. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. The Great Emu Wars. These wars with the emus. Did the emus win? I bet the emus won. My money is on the emus. All right. Got the They can also outrun a human in a truck. Ah! After owning a turkey, you would never want to eat one again. I don't know. I guess I have enough of a farmer sensibility to be like, yes, these animals can be very sweet and very very friendly and everything, but also they're still primarily bred to be food. So I don't know. I think part of the thing too is that especially when you're like raising when you're raising stuff like birds and you have to raise them from such a young age and then like living out in the country like we do, you really kind of accept that a lot of them just are gonna die. Like a lot of them you deal with a lot of them dying like all the time. I have had so many chicks die. I've had so many full-grown chickens just get either eaten by predators or get sick and die or just stuff, man. I think at a certain point you just it's not the same thing, like for me anyway, it's not the same thing as like a pet. Um when you have them kind of compartmentalized as like these animals are, they're here to produce food either by laying eggs or to be eaten or whatever. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of a different they hold a different place psychologically for me than like an actual pet does. Even like when my chickens get older and they're not like laying eggs or anything and I kind of let them just become freeloaders and become pets, it's still just kind of like, yeah, you're just a pet at this point, but I don't have the same kind of emotional attachment that I do like a cat or a dog. They kind of hold a different space in my life and in my brain, I guess. But I get that not everybody feels the same way. I mean, goats and their scary minus sign eyes. I do still really want to get goats, but I don't have the energy for that yet. That's a whole other level of infrastructure and commitment than just raising assorted birds. Goats are like little kids. Bratty little kids. Yeah, that tracks. Little floofs. Goats hit their popularity with that excellent, slightly grotesque Pearl Jam album. Oh. My aunt, when I was a kid, I had an aunt that had a horse, and horses don't like to live alone, but she did not want to have another horse. And so, one of the things you can do instead of having two horses is you can have a horse and some other type of companion animal. And so, she got a goat. But then, oh, goats also don't like to be alone, and a non goat is not a sufficient companion animal for a goat. And so she ended up with a horse and a few goats. And Those were the goats that I got to spend time with growing up. They were quite friendly. It was Barbara Ann and Chloe were the goats. Oh gosh, yeah. They're herd animals. They got to be with other goats or else they get depressed. And horses just want to have a buddy. It doesn't necessarily have to be a horse. They just need somebody around. But goats specifically need more goats, apparently. You can't have one goat, or else you'll have one depressed goat. Like cats, yeah. If sheep, it would have been Barbara Ann. That is why her name was Barbara Ann, because they thought it was funny. Hey, it's Story Comic. What are you doing? How's it going tonight, Barney? All right, we're getting toward the end of the stream, but it looks like I'm gonna be done with this page probably just a little bit ahead of our normal end time. So as I'm finishing up some of these little bits here, I'm gonna do the usual YouTube things just a couple minutes early and remind you all, I'm Amanda Call. This is my channel here on the YouTube. I do these live streams just about every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, barring stuff going on. But if you want to make sure that you catch whenever the live stream happens, you should subscribe and do the notification thing. And that way too, if I miss a stream, then I usually make a post. Like if I have to miss it for whatever reason, I'll make a little post that's like, "Hey, I'm not going to stream tonight. Catch you next time." So you'll see that too. So that's handy. I am working on a comic, a short. I do have a TikTok, but I haven't used it in like forever. It's Amanda Call Art. I have most of the social medias, and you can find me as either Amanda Call Art or Age of Night on pretty much all of them. Age of Night is the comic that you'll usually see me working on this channel. It's not the comic I'm working on tonight because we're at the end of one chapter and starting another, so it's just kind of an awkward place to be working on Age of Night pages right now. So we're just doing something a little different. I'm just working on a little short story just for funsies, featuring some fluffy fantasy sheep creatures. Sheep creatures. But yeah, usually you'll catch me working on my webcomic, Age of Night, which you can read at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. That updates just about every Wednesday. And you can read the whole thing online for free. But if you want to help support me, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/ageofnight. It's greatly appreciated. You can also buy copies of the first 3 and soon to be 4 volumes of Age of Night, various places on the internet, like Amazon and drive-through sites. So it's drive-through comics, drive-through fiction, and drive-through RPG. TikTok will always be that excellent Kesha song. It's true. Yep, I'm going to put you to sleep. I'm just looking at the sheep. If you don't want to buy comics or you already have comics or whatever, and maybe Patreon is not really your style, you don't want to sign up for a Patreon account. If you just want to do like a one-off donation or buy some other fun stuff from me, I also have a Ko-Fi, coffee, whatever you want to say, KOO-fi.com/AmandaCallArt. And that way you can do like little one-off donations, or you can like buy stickers and mini comics and stuff. I have a little merch shop on there too. So that's a good way to support me without having to do like a monthly commitment type situation. I don't have any other events or appearances coming up anytime soon because we are in hibernation time. I am trying desperately to get some big projects done and starting on some new stuff that's very exciting, but I can't talk about yet. And yeah, that's what's going on. We'll see what we come back and do next week. I don't know whether we're going to do the next page of this or whether we're going to work on something else. I don't know. I haven't decided. We'll see. Let me know in the comments whether you'd like to see the next page of this short story or something else. So that, I think, is going to do us for this evening. We have now finished the inks on this page. So short of lettering, which I'm going to be doing digitally, this page is now done. We've got this lovely big establishing page for this short story. We have this nice establishing shot of this little pastoral view with the little village. Got a couple of youngsters jumping over a creek and doing something, going somewhere, making their way through the herd of floofs. This is what's going on. That's what we have so far. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me, and I will see you all next time. Bye.